All right, guys, today we're going to do the Gaussian 3 by 3. So remember, if you don't have a variable for or a number for a variable, you got to put in a 0. So let me start with this one. X plus 3y minus 2z equals negative 11. Negative 2x minus 5y plus 3z equals 17. And we have 4x minus z equals to 1. All right, so first we are going to do the augmented matrix. Now remember, our goal, since now it's not a 2 by 2, this is a 3, system of 3 equation. Our goal is to get 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, and this is some value for x, some value for y, some value for z, because it's x, y, and z. That's our goal, okay? All right, first let's find the augmented matrix for this. This is 1, 3, negative 2, negative 11, negative 2, negative 5, 3, 17. Be careful here. I got the x of 4, but now a z is negative 1. I don't have a y, so I'm going to put a 0 there and a 1. Okay. Remember, our goal is to get this. So first, start with a 1. Once you get the 1, then make them into a zeros. Then get the 1 in the middle. Then make those into zeros. Then get 1 at the bottom. Then make those into zeros. All right. Oh, look, I have a 1. So now I have to get rid of, make the row 2, column 1 is a 0, and this still is 0. So I can do step by step, or we can do multiple steps. Let me show you multiple steps real quick. So I'm going to rewrite row 2. You know, I'm going to write underneath here so you can see better. Row 2 becomes 2 times row 1 plus row 2, because 2 times 1 is 2 plus a negative 2 is 0. So this is 2 row 1 plus row 2. And row 3 becomes negative 4 times row 1 plus row 3. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. We're going to rewrite row 2 and row 3. So this gives me, I didn't do anything with row 1, so I'm going to rewrite that. Row 2 becomes 2 row 1 plus row 2. So 2 times 1 is 2, minus 2 is 0. 2 times 3 is 6, and a negative 5 is a 1. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, and a 3 is a negative 1. 2 times negative 11 is negative 22, plus 17, that's what, a negative 5. And now, for row 3, I'm going to take negative 4 times row 1 plus row 3. So negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, plus 4 is 0. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12, plus 0 is negative 12. Negative 4 times negative 2 is 8. 8 plus a negative 1 is 7. Negative 4 times negative 11 is 44, plus 1 is 45. So as you see, we got our 1, 0, 0. Next, we want the second row, second column to be 1. Oh, look, it is 1, so I don't have to do anything to make it into a 1. So now I have to make this 3 turn into a 0, this negative 12 turn into a 0. And we're going to use this 1 right here to do it. So I'm going to rewrite row 1 as negative 3 times row 2, and then add it to 1, because negative 3 times 1 is negative 3 plus 3. So as you see, I'm always doing the opposite of this number. So it's going to be negative 3 row 2 added to row 1. Same thing with row 3 here. The opposite of negative 12 is 12, so I'm going to take 12 times row 2, then add it to row 3. All right. You know what? I can probably fit it right here. As you see, row 2 stayed the same. Okay. So let's rewrite row 1. Negative 3 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, plus 3 is 0. Negative 3 times negative 1 is a positive 3, plus a negative 2 is a positive 1. Negative 3 times a negative 5 is 15, and a negative 11 is a positive 4. Now I got to do row 3. It's 12 times row 2. Okay. 12 times 0 is 0, plus 0 is 0. 12 times 1 is 12, plus negative 12 is 0. 12 times negative 1 is negative 12, plus 7 is a negative 5. 12 times negative 5 is negative 60, plus 45 is a negative 15. Okay. Now we got our first two columns. Now I want this 1 down here, so I want to make this into a 1. Since these are zeros here, what I can do is I can take negative 1/5. So row 3 becomes negative 1/5 of row 3. Remember, you can do anything you want to any row, any column, add, subtract, multiply. This is the good thing about that. So let's see what we have. We got 1, 0, 1, and 4. 0, 1, negative 1, and negative 15. And now I'm going to take negative 1/5 of this. So negative 1/5 of 0 is 0. Negative 1/5 of 0 is 0. Negative 1/5 of 5 is 1. Negative 1/5 of negative 15 is 3. Okay. So now I need to get these two to be zeros. So I need to rewrite row 1. It's going to be negative row 3, negative 1, because negative 1 times that is negative 1 plus row 1. So negative 1 of row 3 plus row 1. And after we write row 2, that would just be 1 times row 3 added to row 2. Let's see what happens here. So negative 1 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Negative 1 times 0 plus 0 is 0. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1, plus 1 is 0. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3, plus 4 is a 1. Let me put this line right here. Okay. Row 2 is changed. Okay. 1 times 0 is 0, plus 0 is 0. 1 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1, plus negative 1 is 0. 1 times 3 is 3, and now let's see. I think I made a mistake somewhere. Somewhere here in line 2, I made a mistake. Let's see. I'm sorry, let me go back for a quick second. 2 row 1, that's a negative 1. 22, that's a negative 5. Okay. Oh, look right here. From here to here, row 2 stayed the same. I put negative 5. This was negative 15. I miscopied here. This should have been right here. Should have been just a negative 5, which means this is what? A negative 5. That was my mistake right there. Okay. Because I know what the solution is. Row 2 is 1 times row 3. So 4 and a negative. How do I get a 4 now? Because my solution came out to be a negative 2. Wow. I guess my algebra skills here are, let's see, row 1 changed here, right here. That's a 3. Look at right here. -3 of row 2 plus row 1. -3. So that's a +3. That's a 1. 15. That's a 4. Okay. Let me see what happens with the last one. Oh, the last one is 0, 0, 1, and 3, which is correct. But this should have came out to be a -2 for me. Let's see. 3 times, oh, row 2 is 1 of row 3, so 3 times 3 is 9, plus the -5, I get a 4. This should have been here. This answer should have been a -2. All right, so hold on. Let's go back and check. Do I have the right signs? 1, 3, -2. This is what's going to happen, and it's okay. And this tells you what changes. Row 2 and row 3 changed, so I still have that. Row 2, 6, 4. This is a -1. This is -22, and 17 is a -5. -4. This is -12. 8 and -1 is 7. 41 and 1. I'm sorry, 44 and 1 is 45. So I know this is right. Here, row 1 changed. -3 of row 2. So this stays the same. -3. That's 3 plus -2 is 1. 15. That's a 4. And this is 12. That's 0. So that's fine. So somewhere here, if I take -1/5, that's right. So row 2, oh, row 2 becomes 1 row 3 plus row 2. So this is row 3. 3 plus -5 is -2. Okay, so I'm right. I was just doing the wrong thing. All right. All right, but see, this is why we write these, so we can double check and see what's going on. So here we have x, no y, no z is 1, so x equals to 1. No x, y, no z, 2, so y is -2. No x, no y, z is equal to 3. So we have the solution 1, -2, 3. All right. Well, this is what happens. So sometimes you have to look at it, that mistake right there. And then here, I'm supposed to multiply 1 times row 3. So 1 times 3 and then add it to here. I was doing it to the row 1 instead of row 3. All right, so now you know how to do the 3 by 3. It might take some more time, but I did more than one step. If you want to do step by step, you could have went from here to here and then from this new one to this one. But I think you're good to do more than one thing at once. It's not that complicated. All right then. I will see you